I'm Chris.
And I'm Kiley. And this is Redefining Resilience,
where we explore what it means to build a resilient lifestyle
so you can thrive in any and every situation.
So we're still in the tenacity domain.
Well, we just got here.
I know.
Yeah.
We're still here.
We're still here.
Slugging it out.
Yeah.
Tenacity domain. We're going to talk about handling failure and setbacks today. Womp, womp, womp.
Pretty important skill.
It is, because unlike some people tell you, you're never going to get to a point in life where failure and setbacks don't happen. I think we're fed a silly little lie in life saying that at one point in time, if we have the right spouse or job or dog or car, that like everything's going to be fucking great. You're never going to have any problems. That's just not true.
Yeah, I don't even know where that comes from.
I don't know, but that Matthew McConaughey Lincoln commercial makes me think that I might be really close to it if I buy a Lincoln. He just looks super happy. Yeah.
All right. Lincoln, if you want to pay us for this free advertisement, that would be fine.
Just send Matthew McConaughey over here. I'd love to have a podcast with Matthew McConaughey.
Okay, we have cordially now invited Matthew McConaughey onto the podcast.
You're welcome, Brotonimo. Green light. Green light. All right, so we're going to start with the definition, the Googler definition of setback and failure. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, setback is a reversal or check in progress, and failure is lack of success.
That makes sense.
Yes, these are very, very droll and dry.
The cool thing about this is we get to define what success means to us as individuals.
Oh.
So, by my definition, I never fail.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
No, I think that's a drop the mic moment.
Okay, thanks for tuning in. Greatest episode ever. Peace out, bitches. Kylie's perfect.
No, all I mean is I don't really view failure as a bad thing. I think maybe in the moment when it's happening, it might feel negative, but I have always learned the most from my failures, and they've become some of the most integral lessons to my success. So if failure is a lack of success, I don't ever feel like I lack success, because even if I'm faced with adversity or a loss, so to say, I can always see past it and see why that was actually a good thing. Like I've lost clients before, and I don't look at that as a failure or a lack of success. I look at that as cool. Now I'm making space for new opportunities to come in.
So I view everything through the lens of weightlifting, and if you don't find failure in the weight room, you lose growth. You cannot find growth if you don't start finding failure. It's a physical impossibility.
You're finding your edge also. You're finding where your max rep is, or your personal max, right? Your what does PR even stand for?
Personal record.
Okay, personal record. Yeah. I feel like I should have known that.
Whatever.
I say it, but apparently I don't really know what it means. So when you find a PR, you just have found a new edge. You found a new place, like, to set a goal, and then you keep working, and eventually you find a new edge, and you're constantly just finding new edges of your capabilities. And if you don't continue to fail, you're never going to push yourself beyond what you can do today.
So it's comfortable to avoid the failure. The problem is comfort doesn't equal growth.
Right.
There's this rule of law in the gym. It's called beginner gains. Like right when you hit the gym, you're going to kind of work because you really have no fucking idea what you're doing when you first start. You just go hit a bunch of machines or move some weight around, and your body will change.
I call it the dummy curve.
There you go. Yeah, the dummy curve.
So in business, a lot of times when you're new to a role, or let's say you're new to sales and you first get in there, you're going to ask a lot of questions. You're not going to know right from wrong. So you're just going to go in there with genuine curiosity, and you might actually get some wins on accident.
Yeah.
Because you fumbled your way through it. And that dummy curve is what then sets the tone for your basis of knowledge. And then you see what works, what doesn't work, and you start to develop some more routine habits based on how you're learning initially.
Well, that, and you understand where you want to go with it. So I think that's the biggest thing in the gym is you come in, you dork around, you have an okay time, you press a little bit of weight, your body changes, and then you decide that you want to go farther. So you have to start being intentional. You cannot grow in your business, with your relationships in any form or fashion, even your relationships with your dogs, you have to be intentional with. Because if you want a certain outcome, you have to act in a manner that produces said outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to find, like teaching a dog, where their capabilities lie, you have to go until they fail at it. And then you find out what you have to work on. That's the beautiful part about failure. And I think that's why I got frustrated when I was looking at all these definitions. They're all negative. They're all super negative. So I don't believe that failure is a bad thing. I think failure is as much as a necessity as breathing. You have to have it. In fact, if you don't have it, I don't understand how you're successful at anything. You've obviously not tried very hard, because the byproduct of trying really, really hard is finding failure. That's one of them. Success is there, but success without experiencing failure, one, doesn't taste as sweet, and two, doesn't really exist. You could already do those things.
Yeah. I was talking to Dr. Stacy, who we had on the podcast recently, and they just sold their first franchise. And I said, that's amazing. What's next? And she said, make our mistakes and learn from them.
She's cool, man.
I know. I was like, yes, build, measure, learn. That's the model. And the other thing I said was just, fail more and fail faster as business owners. That's all we're doing.
Yeah.
We're just messing up and learning from it quicker than somebody who isn't willing to take the risks. I think as business owners or entrepreneurs, whatever you want to call yourself, we have to be okay with a certain level of failure, and you have to get really good at making mistakes, because there's a lot more decisions that you have to make. And if you're not making them quickly, learning from them quickly, and rebounding from them quickly, you're going to have a hard time.
Well, you're just increasing the amount of time and pain as well.
Yeah.
Like if you can't accept the fact that it's a failure, I think that's the funniest one. I cannot fucking tell you how many times I've come across people just in the gym that do the same fucking workout all the time, getting nowhere, doing nothing, and getting injured. And they're like, well, this is just what I do. Like, well, are you stupid? Like, you're really dumb. Like, that is insane, right? Remember when we were at, was it Carmel Total Fitness, and that guy was telling me about those Anderson deadlifts or whatever they're called? Deadlifts behind your legs.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
And he was like, some trainer was telling him to do it, and he came over and goes, have you ever done these? I said, absolutely not. And he goes, well, why? I said, well, first off, you need to tell me why I need to do them. And he goes, well, I don't really know. I said, well, it didn't really give me a lot of gusto to put that inside of my workout. Why would I do something we have no idea what the outcome is or what the process involved creates?
I don't even understand why you'd put yourself in pretzel position to deadlift weight. Like, you're just asking to get hurt.
I don't know. It is what it is. I went and asked Google how to handle failure and setback. And I got 2 sets of answers. One was not useful at all. The second one had 7 aspects.
Oh, Lord.
First one was adopt a growth mindset.
Okay, easier said than done.
Yeah. 2, seek support. Build resilience as a whole. Like, I think that would cover most. Acknowledge your emotions. Learn from failure. Don't let setbacks define you. And analyze the setback. So if I could take all 7 of these and reduce them down to the ones that I think are useful. One, you're listening to this podcast. We're pretty deep into this thing. So if you've listened to them, we're already working on your resilience.
Yeah.
Analyze the setback is what I would ask. First and foremost.
I would just say reflect.
Yes.
Right?
How did you get here?
What's
going on?
Yes.
What fell apart?
Do some introspection. Figure out. I think the question I always ask myself is, what's most frustrating about this situation? Because it pinpoints the root source of my emotion, which is a negative emotion most of the time when I'm dealing with setbacks or challenges, right? So if I can ask myself what's most frustrating and pinpoint it, it's usually something that's like not even logical. It's usually just an emotional response. And then once I can identify it, I have the ability to rationalize my way off the ledge and bring myself back to a more constructive place of productivity.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of a setback.
What about your car wreck?
Oh, yeah, that was a big one.
Wow.
Oh, when I couldn't do the Pure Bar workout?
Yeah, and you had the yoga and the Pure Bar workout all in the same time. You lost your mind because it was hard.
I did. I tried to work out twice in one day. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I guess it's hard for me to think of a setback because I don't really dwell on them too long, but I also don't dwell on the wins either and sit there and like rejoice and celebrate every time something goes right, nor do I dwell on things when they go wrong. It's I maintain the sense of equanimity where my highs aren't super high, my lows aren't super low. I'm staying close to baseline pretty consistently. Mm-hmm. So I'll say the car wreck was a big setback, but I think I can take from that example my learnings. I can take from that example, what am I most frustrated about? I was most frustrated that I wrecked my brand new car. And then when I rationalize myself to a place where I can move forward, it's like, well, I'm going to have another car. This was just a car.
Yeah.
It's not as important as my life.
Yeah.
I barely got injured. I broke my hand and had a bloody nose, and that was it. So in the grand scheme of things, I was extraordinarily lucky. So I don't know. I could look at that and say that was a setback, but I don't really view it as, it was a minor inconvenience.
Yeah.
If anything. And, you know, like we've hired the wrong people. We've chosen the wrong vendors before. We have made mistakes. We've spent money on stupid things. I've hired bad coaches before. I've made a lot of mistakes when it comes to trusting the wrong people or trusting my gut, and my gut was wrong. However, it always taught me something.
Yeah, hell yeah. And to look at failure as something that's like a place you live, I think is the problem. Like, we step into this crazy world every day with some kind of goal in mind or process to complete. And then whenever we get to the point where it doesn't work, it's not like, wherever we find the place that doesn't work, it's not like we live there forever in the doom and gloom of failure.
Yeah.
It's literally a point in time where you get a data set that says, well, that didn't add up. And you just go back to the beginning, or you go back a step and you go, okay, cool. I understand that. I understand this doesn't work anymore. How else can I do it? You just move on.
And you know what's funny is no one has this figured out. Yeah. We talk to CEOs of very successful companies on a regular basis. We talk to professional athletes on a regular basis. You'd think that at some point, at some level of success, people are like, you know what, I can do anything. No. Like talking to a CEO today, he's like, I have major imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And was vulnerable enough to share that with me.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my gosh, like,
yeah.
At no point do people typically say, man, I've got all the answers. I don't make mistakes. I know what I'm doing. No one's doing that, even at the highest level of success.
Yeah.
I think you talk to the most successful people and they will tell you that they've just gotten really good at failure.
Yeah. They've acquired more time of failures and lessons than anybody else. That's like what Albert Einstein said. I'm not smarter than anybody else. I just stay with the problem longer.
Yes.
Like that. I love that quote. That quote is awesome because he's letting everybody know that he's not doing anything spectacular. He literally is not doing anything that sets him apart. He's just fucking hanging out there longer, working on it longer. He's taken the failure, because how many times did he fail before he came up with that equation? Was it E equals MC squared?
Yeah.
Probably millions.
Yeah.
And he just kept going, okay, that doesn't work, move on. Okay, that doesn't work, move on. I mean, I've spent 20 plus years in the gym. I've probably failed, I mean, I know 100,000 plus times. I've passed out underneath weight. I've been destroyed by weight. I've been, sick or injured. I've had all of the quote unquote game-ending failures, but you just keep moving on. It's just a lesson, just a part of life if you're trying to accomplish something.
Well, and I think an important just thing to keep in mind with all of this is you can either focus your energy and attention on the problem, or you can focus your energy and attention on the solution.
Yeah.
And one of them is going to determine how long you stay in a status of failure. You focus on the problem, you're just going to be a victim. If you focus on the solution, you're going to be in a growth-minded mental state and can move forward in a constructive manner, thinking, okay, what can I use this information for? Failure is just data. When you objectively start to view failure as just data to help you make decisions moving forward, it becomes far less emotional.
Well, I don't think that's true. That's the part of failure that becomes so detrimental, is the emotional connection to the outcome. Like, I know in my life, I've had a heavy emotional connections to specific outcomes, and when they don't work, I'm crushed. And the more I remove myself from the emotional connection to the outcome and start falling in love with the process of becoming a better human in all facets, then it's like, well, this is actually really exciting. Failure actually fuels me, because then I know I'm pressing the envelope enough to acquire it. If I'm making it through life and I'm not finding failure in anything, well, I'm just not working hard enough, bud. I'm being lazy. I've not pushed myself to the point that things around me are stressed and might break. The weak things will break. And if you find enough weak things, break enough weak things, then you start to have stronger shit around you all the time, and you fail less, and it's not as detrimental. You're used to it.
Yeah.
So heart.org gave 3 do's and don'ts.
Heart.
Okay. So don't dwell on past mistakes, but focus on future goals.
Yeah.
Don't be an avoider. Be a seeker. And don't stick with it stubbornly. I like that one a lot. And adjust quickly. So I think there is quite a bit of healthy information to don't stick with it stubbornly. But I think you kind of tread the waters back and forth. You want to stick with it long enough to know you've exhausted all options. But once you've exhausted all options or viable options, just get the hell out of there. Stop doing that.
And I think that's where you can lean on your network and other people, right? There's always going to be somebody that's done the thing you're trying to accomplish in some form or fashion and can shortcut the process for you. So the other option you have, and I think this was one of the recommendations at the beginning, is seek help. Go talk to more experienced people. When I get stuck on something or I don't know what to do, I reach out to a mentor, or I ask a question, and the people that have done the thing I'm trying to do can say something. Like, it could just be one sentence.
Yeah, change your life.
And it can just unlock everything for me.
Yeah.
So sometimes if you're stuck on something, it's a cue to go ask for help.
And asking for help doesn't make you a weaker person. Asking for help makes you a smarter person.
Yeah,
here's
it's resourceful.
Yeah, here's the kicker. Ask for help after you actually need help. Don't ask for help before you started. So you need to at least try a little bit. One lesson that I learned quickly when I was living overseas was if I didn't attempt to speak the language, I got no help. But if I walked in and I fumbled my way through and barely communicated in Lithuanian, they would help me all day long. Everybody in that room would either speak for me. Other people in the grocery store would help me pay. If I just handed them a wad of money, they would overcharge me every time. But if I tried to make it work, because I was trying, people were willing to come out of the fucking woodwork to help me make that happen.
So what I would say with that is don't just bring problems to people when you're seeking guidance. Bring potential solutions and ask for feedback. I think if I'm summarizing what you're suggesting.
Yeah, because if somebody comes to you and says, hey, man, I can't get this bench press. I really want to bench 100 pounds. I hit 90. This happens. I work my triceps. I work my front delts. My rear delts are a little weak, but here's what I'm doing to work on those. I'm doing my best. Even if you don't have that much knowledge and somebody came up to me and said, listen, man, I just really need some help. I'm trying. This is what I do. I don't know if this is right. I would be all over helping them out because I can see that they're trying and they just need some guidance. If somebody came up to me, and this happens quite a bit, yo, bro, how do I get big like you? Fuck off, man. Don't talk to me. Like, one, that's insulting because I don't think I am that big. And why are you talking to me? And two, you're wasting my time because I don't know anything about you. You give me no problems to solve here. And how am I supposed to help you? What do you want out of this conversation? I don't know. Drink chocolate milk, bro. I don't know. What do you want me to do with that? It's a I'm not going to help myself, but I want you to help me mentality.
Yeah.
That's absolutely useless.
Yeah, I think you got to take initiative. And I think also taking initiative and failing a couple times is how you get experience. The people who have done it successfully have just failed more times and figured out how to pass the next level. I mean, you think about it, it's a game, right?
Yeah.
When we're playing Super Mario Brothers, you die on a level, you restart the level, and now you know the secrets. You can shortcut the process, and then you get to the next level, and it's all brand new. Growth is no different. You're just leveling up every time and experiencing new territory you've never seen before.
I think that's one takeaway from this podcast episode is understand that we're basically playing Super Mario. Every time you level up, it's brand new, bud. That's okay.
You got to figure out the secret tunnels. You got to catch the magic star. I mean, you're going to learn all the tricks along the way, but you have to be open to exploring uncharted territory.
Well, you have to be on the way to find it on the way.
Yeah.
You got to be traveling and moving.
Yeah.
So.
Good luck failing.
Good luck failing. Yeah.
The one thought I'll leave you with is a talk track that I use for failure. I just remind myself that the losses are the lessons. And the faster I can learn my lesson, the faster I can move on in a constructive manner.
Thanks for listening to Redefining Resilience.
To learn more about building your mental and physical readiness, check out odysseyresilience.org.
And follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok.